Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Listen, we've got a few of you in the room, just waiting for everyone to arrive. I reckon we'll be kicking off in about 7, 8 minutes max. So if you are out there and you're listening, grab a tea, grab a coffee, grab your notebook, get comfortable, manage the distractions, all right? So make sure that you've got your mobile switched off and maybe the switchboard being answered or answer phone and settle in. All right, I'll see you in a short while. Good morning, everyone. Just waiting for everyone to get in the room. We will be kicking off almost immediately. I can see the time is coming up. So grab your pens, your notebooks, your coffee, your tea. Manage all the distractions. Turn your mobile phone off. If you've got switchboard, try and get them to answer phones for you. Turn your email off, all right? Because I know what happens. It will ping on your inbox and it will distract you. So do all of those things, and we will be starting very, very shortly. See you in a short while. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Just waiting for a few more of you in the room. I'm just adjusting my sort of thing here. It's really difficult. I don't have a mirror in this office at all. So, and welcome. I think we may have caught a few people by surprise this morning. Um, I I know that most of the month we do our weekly sessions for masterminds at 12 noon GMT, not GMT, GMT, Greenwich Mean Time or British Summer Time. And the first session of every month, we have been kicking them off at 8 o'clock in the morning. Again, British Summer Time or GMT. So I think we may have caught a few people by surprise because, like, loads of people said to me, "Oh yeah, I really want to do this," and then we've got a smaller group in the room. A few of you I know will be listening to the replay, so good. Okay, and I can see more of you joining the room as we're speaking. Okay, so look, I'm going to edit out all of this rubbish as I normally do, and I will kick this session off. Before I do, just remember you've got the chat function. I've not made it public only because sometimes I think as I'm speaking it can kind of go on and what have you, so I haven't made it public, but by all means, if you've got a question for me about executive search, headhunting, etc., we've got 4 weeks, or at least 4 weeks on this. For me, this is my favourite subject, all right? I love talking about it. So we'll spend as long as we need to in this subject, but my objective for this, I think I put into the email to you guys yesterday. My objective for this was one of my strongest areas as a recruiter, as a business owner. I built 3 recruitment companies, as you know, but 2 of them built specifically on executive search and retained executive search. And I actually did very, very well at it. Now, I know in my email yesterday I was a little bit arrogant, and rightly so. I don't play the arrogant card at all. Any of you that know me know that. Good morning to you. Anyone that knows me will know that that's not my style at all. The reason why I'm kind of picking up on this for this particular subject is that there are other trainers out there that will talk about headhunting or executive search, and there are some okay ones. There's 1 or 2 that I have recommended into people where I haven't been offering a public course or whatever. But I'll be honest, it's like when you look into the credentials of these people, when you ask them, it's fine, Natalie, no worries, thank you very much. I'm glad that you guys can all see that. So look, Natalie's just said it is public, and that's brilliant. Just write up everything that you can. That's cool. I'm good with that. Where was I? Yeah. So there are a few trainers that will kind of talk a good game, and they'll talk about the theory. There are 1 or 2 people that I know in our industry that I feel are really qualified to talk about this subject. And the reason why I say they're qualified is that they've done it, okay? So they've operated search businesses. They have sold retained search assignments, and they've been good at it. And on top of that, then also, they're good at talking about it and instructing others. There are very, very few. In the UK, there's maybe one or two other people that I would recognise as good within this field. In the States, there are a few more, but they don't. The interesting thing about the States is they don't practice a retained search model as much as the European side. They do a lot more contingency search. So, heck, you know, that's why I kind of maybe slightly arrogant with this one, in that I know there are a few people in the world qualified, more qualified than I, to talk about this particular subject, and it's one that I love. So there it is. My apology is over for that arrogance. Okay, so look, let me. I've got you all in here. That's good. I hope. Actually, yeah, I'm interested to know. Just type up for me. Let me know whether you are offering to your clients, as a client solution, an executive search solution. So proactively going out to the market, finding candidates, bringing them back to your client, and also let me know whether you are pitching and winning retained executive search, or you are pitching and winning contingency executive search. So give me some indication of that. If you're in the room, just let me know. Just, you know, put it up there. If you don't want to share that information, that's fine. I know a few of you join the room, and then, you know, it's like you don't want to contribute that, and that's cool. I totally get that. I totally get that. Good. Okay, let me just have a look. Cool. All right. So look, let me. I'm just babbling this morning. Do you mind if I just take a swig of coffee? Hold on a sec. It's too early in the morning. Too early in the morning. I've got a little surprise for you actually at the end of today. I'm going to show you a video. I won't show it to you. You can kind of look at it yourself. But something I watched this morning that just got me really fired up. So I'm going to share that link with you at the end. So stay tuned. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, so look, let me do this properly. Welcome everyone to Recruitment Masterminds, our weekly session, and today is the first one in a series that I really want to talk to you about. I really want to get into. This is my favorite subject, and it's the subject of building an executive search desk or solution or niche within an existing recruitment practice, okay, within an existing recruitment business. Or it's about tightening up. If you've already got an executive search desk or solution for your client, it's about tightening up that process, making sure that you are offering, you know, best practice, and compared to, you know, other executive search specialists, it's comparing what you're offering and then making sure that you are on point. Okay. Good, okay, and Sebastian, I saw a question in there. It doesn't sound stupid at all, my friend, please. And guys, all of you need to know this as well. Within this room, protected, okay? No one is going to look and say, oh, that's a daft question. So, Sebastian, I'm really pleased that you asked. It sounds stupid, but how do you define executive search? Let's do that. Yoni is saying that Generations is not offering an exec search offer, but when occasionally in touch with it, got it on a retained basis, but on a flat fee level. Yoni, thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, Sebastian, really difficult actually. You know, this term executive search is bandied about. I will tell you, in readiness for today, I started to look at some current stats, and like current stats on the recruitment industry globally, mate, there's just so much stuff that's out there, and really hard to kind of pin it down. You know, I found one figure that was saying retained executive search was worth over $10 billion globally. But you know what, when I started to read that figure, I said, well, to myself, well, what about contingency search? You know, that's a really big market. You know, in fact, for the Americans, it's contingency search market is bigger for them than the retained. Retained search is sorry, I'm not saying it's not done all over the world, of course it is, but it was predominantly a European development, and then, you know, sort of expanded throughout. It wasn't something, and in America the contingency search solution is perhaps the most practiced one there. But how do we define it? I started to look at Executive Grapevine, and Executive Grapevine is a publishing company that publishes all sorts of reports, and if you get a chance, have a look at their website. Some of those reports are free and downloadable as PDFs. You just got to put your name and email address in, and then I'm sure they'll send you lots of other information as well. But it is quite useful. Even those guys, you know, I looked at their current report on the executive search industry worldwide, and their definition is very similar to Yoni's. You know, my understanding of executive search is C-level function. You know, their definition is very similar to that: C-level function, board-level appointments. They also talk about senior management, etc. Here's my thing. I've worked in this industry for 27 years, as you know, and I've trained on this particular subject. Probably more extensively than any other recruitment trainer out there. Here's the deal. I've trained people, yes, to headhunt and sell, you know, executive search solutions at the highest level. Okay, at the highest level. So, you know, people in excess of £250,000 packages. One client of mine, you know, was a 300,000 plus. Package that they were able to charge on as a retained package. So at those high levels. But I've also, just to let you know, and maybe encourage some of you as well, I've trained recruitment businesses to pitch, i.e. sell and win executive search, or sorry, retained executive search solutions, and I will explain that bit in a minute, but retained executive search solutions to a secretarial recruitment market, placing secretaries, placing PAs, and you know, this particular company, this wasn't, you know, very recently. This was a while ago. It was a long while ago, probably 10 years, 12 years now. So you know, and in that time, I've trained people to, you know, offer these types of solutions to architects, to, you know, engineers, to whatever, anything, hairy bum builders, all right, if you forgive that expression. I know none of you are placing hairy bummed construction workers, but even those guys, it's like, you know, if somebody, it's, the thing about executive search is it's a methodology. In fact, let's drop the term executive search. Let's just call it search methodology, right? So proactive search methodology is, rather than relying on a candidate that's sitting on your database, it's going out to the market using other methods of sourcing and contacting, identifying and qualifying, other than just placing an ad and hoping, you know, that the best one comes through. Remember what I've said before, hope is not a strategy. So this is a more proactive approach. Let's have a look. Seb, good question. Yeah. What's the size of the market in dollars and ratio in mainland Europe between retained and contingency? Yoni, a simple answer is I don't know. I was trying to find that information even up until about 5 minutes before this session kicked off. So it's so vague, man. It really is. But look, a couple of things I can tell you, right? You know, stuff that I've picked up from the research. Executive search or search, right? That retain search. According to Executive Grapevine, this is the third year. 2014 is the third year of continuous improvement in revenues. Okay, so what they're saying is, and they, you know, they're one of the most prolific in this market. They're a publishing company, and specifically about the recruitment industry. Their members include, you know, the top 50 executive search firms worldwide. So they survey members. They look at this. Then my argument with their data is that yes, you know, they are looking at the recognized market for executive search. So they'll take the Egon Zehnder, Swiss company. They'll take the Odgers. They'll take the you know, Russell Reynolds, Spencer Stewart. They'll take the top search firms, recognized search firms around the world. But a really interesting view for me, and if you get that report, you know, it's free, go onto Executive Grapevine and get it. I'll try and get a link for you in a minute and post that up. But if you go and get that report, the most interesting thing for me when I looked at it was of the top 50 companies that they name as the top 50 executive search companies in the world, the top 20, okay, sorry, outside the top 20, all right, those firms, so 20 to 50, have less than 1% market share. Okay, so outside the top 20, I think it's 20 or even 10, let's say 20. Outside the top 20, the remaining companies in that list of the top 50, you know, sorry, keep with me, all right, I know it's early, they control or they own less than 1% of the market share or of retained executive search. Now, interestingly, if you go up to the top 20 list, let's see if I can get it actually up on my thing. Let's have a look and see if I can tell you. I'm looking at something on my screen, so if I'm looking down, forgive me. I just want to give you this thing. Okay. Yeah, this is their... Okay, these figures that I'm looking at, by the way, this is UK executive search market. I thought it was worldwide, but UK. So look, and look, it's very, I mean, when you look at the companies, I will tell you, number 1, Odgers Berndtson, number 2, Korn Ferry, number 3, Egon Zehnder, 4, Russell Reynolds, 5, Spencer Stewart, 6, Heidrick and Struggles. I'll stop there, all right? So like Hoggett Bowers all down there, Norman Broadbent, etc. They're all in there. And those firms would actually be recognized worldwide as well. Most of you, or sorry, some of you will know that you know, those firms. The interesting thing for me, the top one on there, Odgers, Korn Ferry, Egon Zehnder, Russell Reynolds, do you know how much market share they've got of the total industry market? Anyone hazard a guess? The top ones, market share. Odgers, 8.2%. It's the number 1 on that list, and they only have 8.2% of market share. Russell Reynolds, number 4, 6.9%. Right, 6.9%. Number 6, 4.7%. Here's the deal, right? After I told you 17, it goes to 1% of market share. Now, why am I sharing that with you? It's to encourage you and say to you, you know what? Even the biggest firms in the world don't have the monopoly on this. And you guys know some of my story, right? And I'm going to share it with you again because I think this really illustrates why I'm saying to some of you that don't currently offer this solution to your clients, why you should. And over the next coming weeks, maybe months, I'm going to help you, okay? This is my favorite thing. I'm going to help you. I'm going to show you exactly the exact strategies that I used to develop this within my first recruitment business, the one that I had with James Kahn, and then my subsequent recruitment business, the Corporate Services Group. I built a retained executive search solution for one of the UK's largest recruitment businesses, £350 million PLC. I started an executive search division from scratch. I had nothing. I had no consultants, nothing. But I built it from scratch, and I built it to 25 plus consultants and phenomenal revenues and profit as well. It's a really, really good business, that one. Since then, I've helped countless clients, recruitment businesses around the world, strengthen their existing offering, but also develop it from scratch as well. So you're in safe hands, all right? You're in safe hands. Let me tell you my story, because I think this is quite interesting. Some of you know this, but just wanted to you know, clarify it. Remember, when I first started in recruitment, my market was what's called low low margin, high volume. Okay, low margin and high volume. And what that meant was that I was making quite large numbers of placements, but the average deal value was very, very low. very, very low. My perm percentage, I think the average was 12.5%. Okay, so 12.5% of the annual salary. The salary levels that I was working, first placement I ever made, I joke, was about £7,500. And people go, wow, Roy, that was a brilliant fee. It was like, no, that wasn't the fee, that was the basic salary. And I think we charged 10% on that, all right? So 10% on £7,500 was 750 quid. Which again, not to be sniffed at, it was quite a long while ago, but I had to do an awful lot of those types of placements in order to eat, all right, to earn commission, and as all of you can see, I didn't do too bad. I didn't starve, that's for sure. Let me just read this message. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yoni, on this, I'm not. Yoni's asking. It becomes very difficult to motivate a seller retainer. Okay, please, I'm not advocating that we just pitch retain business. The model that I'm going to show you not today, but the model that I'm going to show you over the developing weeks and months is not one where retain business is everything that you're going to sell. I'm going to teach you to sell a very flexible approach to the pricing. Okay, the retain side is an ultimate goal, and I'm going to show you how you pitch that, but the fallback position is contingency search, and there's nothing wrong with that, all right? I'll carry on my story, and then I think for some people I may need to just explain the difference between contingency and retained, and that's not me. What I don't want to do is assume anything with anybody. Natalie, I've sold retainers on high volume telesales jobs before, and the motivator was that it was urgent, the client wants to be a #1 priority. Natalie, spot on, okay, spot on. I'm going to talk about what are the indicators that will suggest a retained pitch is necessary, okay, or even if it's not retained, suggest a special solution, a different solution, a bespoke solution is necessary, all right? So look, just in terms of this story, so I was doing quite a few placements, low margin, high volume, having to do a load of them. And I loved it. Like many of you that have started at the lowest level, I really loved it. No day was the same. It's like we just used to. I was just frantic, absolutely frantic, and I loved it. The pace, the energy. I used to get. Here's the real deal. I used to get as big a kick out of that £750 fee, right? Actually, and remember, that was the fee, not the commission. That was the fee that we charged the client. I used to get as big, and I'm not lying to you, as big a kick out of celebrating that £750 deal as I did my highest placement, and 250,000 plus salary, 30% fees, retained, shortlist, everything else. And I know you're going to think, oh yeah, Roy, really? It's like, of course you loved the money of the thing. It's like, of course I did. I enjoyed it. But that boost, that energy thing, for me, it was about the placement, all right, the placement. So back to the story. It was good, and I really, really enjoyed it. But what happened was I started to hear about a different way of doing recruitment. And back in the day when I was doing those low-level placements, here's my methodology. I was very good at speaking my client's language and my candidate's language because I came from that industry. So I found it, I found it relatively easy to pick up job requirements. Okay, and in that market, they'd give the job requirement to anyone that was prepared to phone them up and ask for it. So I used to get, we had fax machines in those days. I used to get lists of jobs faxed through to me. I'd be like, every single day, the retailers that I was dealing with would give me a list of sometimes 30, 50 jobs. Branch manager here, branch manager there. I used to deal with retail placements. I used to deal with head office placements, so merchandisers and analysts and admin assistants and everything else. And I also used to deal with design rooms, so pattern cutters and design room assistants and stuff like that. I used to get reams and reams of faxes, reams and reams of jobs. So picking up jobs was not difficult. Finding candidates, my methodology was I used to put an ad, I used to search the database, I was good, search my database first, find any candidates. My database, by the way, was a box, all right, in front of me. We did go onto computers, but we still had boxes as well. I'd find candidates, I'd present candidates, I'd make placements. If I didn't have candidates, in fact, even if I did, I'd still place an advert, hard copy press, and I'd deal with the response instantly. I'll place the advert, get response the next day, qualify them on the phone, bring them in, get them across to my client within 2 days, 2 or 3 days. Anyway, I was fine with that, but I really felt that there was a better way to do it. I really felt that, you know, the same candidates were responding to adverts, the same people were popping up, we had the same people on our database. I felt that it was a different way. And I started to read about executive search, and not necessarily just, yeah, I started to read about these higher levels and et cetera, but it always felt for me, remember the boy from Brixton, always felt, you know, South London, poor district, all that kind of stuff, always felt that I would never get in, and in fact I never could, all right, I never could. The top 5 search firms at that time were the top 5 search firms that are now, all right, so Egon Zehnder, Russell Reynolds, Spencer Stewart, blah, 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 you know, they always sound like firms of solicitors or accountants as well. Odgers, all these people, they didn't want to, you know, they wouldn't have taken me, and you know, I didn't go to the right school, my parents weren't from the right school, I probably wasn't the right colour. Without playing a race card, it's like it wasn't. There weren't people of colour in those companies in those days. All right, people asked me to see the evolution. Yeah, 20 years ago, they wouldn't have had. They definitely wouldn't have had me working there. Yeah, good point. Absolutely good point, Yoni. And I will come to that. There's loads of good information coming through. Okay, but I thought, oh, hang on, there's a better way of doing this, and I started to get interested in just using a bit more proactive approach. And I started to, now when I say proactive, I just talked about, it wasn't headhunting as such, it was just using more referrals. And I used to set myself, forget about everyone else in my office, I used to set myself targets, daily targets of how many referrals I could get from candidates who did come in from adverts, how many referrals I could get from candidates already on the database. So if I was phoning a candidate on the database, I'd talk to them about the opportunity. I'd go, hey, listen, you know, who do you know that could be good? In fact, in those days, I'd say, do you know anyone? And you can imagine the answers. Do you know anyone? It's like, yes, no, whatever, right? So I used to use that question a lot. But I set myself these daily targets just in terms of referrals, and I used to hit them and smash them. And all of a sudden, my candidate network grew massively in comparison to the people within my office, the other consultants that I was working alongside. And I could see that by the number of candidates, my network growing, my ability to place candidates grew as well. So, this is really, really good. So the more I did, the more I achieved, the more I learned, the hungrier it made me, right? So anyway, I went to my boss at the time and I said to him, wow, you know, I keep seeing, and he was impressed. It's like, look, you're doing these figures, etc. I said, well, you know, I don't know what it is, but I keep hearing this term headhunting. What is headhunting? And his point was, it's like, oh, you know, and it's like, he got very, very serious, whatever. He said, you don't want to do headhunting, that's, you know, illegal, I think was the word that he used, that's immoral. You know, it's very sharp practice, everything else. And he was right, because some of the people, as Yoni said, some of the people doing that at this time, 20 years ago, were at the sharp end. There were people that were, you know, headhunters taking from their clients, you know, taking assignments from one side, and on the other side of the office, there was someone making a call into that client to, you know, headhunt somebody out of that business. There were retainers being sold that people were just, you know, pitching the retainer and then buggering off somewhere, you know, taking the money and running. So loads of bad things. But my view was, it's like, well, surely it can't all be bad. There must be some good in here, because these other companies, these Odgers and Russell Reynolds and Spencer Stewarts and Egon Zenders, they've built a business you know, since the 1950s, 1960s, some of them. And what is this thing? You know, why were they at this level, and then there were, you know, recruitment businesses at this level? Anyway, I didn't do anything with it because my boss was at that time was really anti. But in the back of my mind, it just bugged me. You know, it's got to be an easier way. Anyway, I carried on doing what I was doing. I was successful. It really didn't come to play until I started up that first recruitment business with James Kahn, Retail Profiles, it was called. And you know, I was just really pleased to be having my business. And it's like, oh man, you know, I've got my own recruitment company now. You know, I'm the man. And I had business cards printed. It was my first business card. It was bloody awful. If I can find it, I will post it somewhere. There's got to be. I'll get our people to see if they can find a copy of my first business card. You will laugh. James, bless him, he used to have a set of management charges that he would apply to my business, and all of a sudden it's like, what is this management charge? And he got me again. If I can find this, I'm sure I kept it. He ordered, right, these business card holders, leather bound with little gold tabs, business card holders, and they were embossed with my logo on it, right? Now, why the hell? It's like, we didn't need these things, and they were bloody expensive. What he said was that, oh, you know, they could be great gifts that you could give to your clients. What I found out later on is he wanted those. He wanted them for something else he was doing, and it was easier for him to, you know, sell to whoever it was that was producing them. Oh yeah, you know, I've got these other companies, blah blah blah. Roy's company will take 500 of those. Anyway, back into it. That first business was an absolute disaster. It really was, because I was going into my traditional market. I remember I told you earlier, average fee, 12.5% fees, percentages, low-level salaries, you know, no executive search, no retain. No one had ever sold a retainer in retail before. It was like madness. What are you talking about? And there I was, like, oh, I've got this brand new recruitment business, and I thought the business, you know, business was just going to come flying in. And I wasn't scared of phones. It's like we just used to be phoning people. So it wasn't a, you know, an activity or a lack of activity on my part. I was really driven, but it just wasn't happening. And anyway, you know, I spoke to James about it. I said, look, you know, it's not working. And he said, well, you know, you need to do something different. And it's a lesson that he taught me then, and he's taught a lot of other people since, and he still talks about it. When the market is swimming one way, yeah, don't be scared to be that lone fish swimming in the other direction. Do you like my hand signals there, the mime, right? So if the whole fish, the whole, what are they called? Not a swarm of fish? No, it's not a swarm of fish. Whatever the collective noun is. Someone help me out on that one. Shoal, yeah, okay, good. Shoal of fish. If the whole shoal of fish is swimming one way, don't be scared to be that little fish that's you know, furiously swimming the other. And he introduced me to some people, and I, you know, through those people, I introduced myself to other people. And I travelled, you know, I went all over the place. I met with as many executive search people as I could. I found people that were selling retain business. I found people that were selling contingency business. I went to the States and I sat down with and interviewed every single recruitment business owner that I could find. I sat in on seminars. Through that, I met Tony Byrne, my first mentor, first or second mentor if you don't count James Kahn. But I met Tony Byrne, massive impact on me. Still, you know, for me, the greatest recruitment trainer that ever lived. And I was a sponge. I learned this stuff. And it's interesting because Tony Byrne wasn't selling retained search. He wasn't training how to sell retained search because he was an American, and traditionally the American market there was contingency search model, and they used to do it quick. So for any of you who are out there that think, you know, Roy Ripper's just about peddling retained, I'm not at all. It's like, you know, horses for courses, different solutions are good for different people, but I'm going to teach you how to do both, all right? I'm going to teach you how to do everything, because this is, you know, this is my favorite subject. Okay, so right, armed with all this information, you know, there's no rocket science to this. When you talk to lots of people, lots of very successful people doing the thing that you want to do, success leaves clues, and you find that, well, hang on a second, there are 3 or 4 things that this person does that this person does, and those same 3 or 4 things this person does and this person does. So all of a sudden there are really common things that these people do, and that's all I did. I wasn't, you know, I was bright. Um, you know, I was street smart. I wasn't necessarily academic smart, but what I was able to do was I could spot patterns. It doesn't take a genius to spot a pattern. The genius, I suppose, comes from, you know, not being so arrogant that you think, you know, oh, well, I want to do it my own way. It's like, I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do is find out who was successful, find out what they did to be successful, understand what they did to be successful, and then just replicate that. That's all I did, all right? Of course, I put my unique spin on it. Of course, you would put your unique spin on it. But no bigger secret than that. Anyway, story, most of you know this. I came back, I put that into practice. Everything that I learned within that first business with James, I built it up to, I think it was 9 producers. Within 18 months, 2 years, we were producing, and what I did was I just pitch retained. I pitch retained, my fallback was contingency. We won so much business, and then all we did was we used the back of every assignment that we sold. We used the success of the delivery, and of course you do need to deliver. You can't just, as Yoni said, there were a lot of people then taking retainers, running off. It's like, my business has never been about running off, and so we delivered. But what we did was every single assignment that we delivered on, we would sell off of the back of that. So that referral, remember what I said to you about the referrals? I would, you know, as we were delivering the solution to the client, I'd be saying to them, brilliant, okay, who else in your business is going to benefit from this type of approach? And they go, oh, you know, well, we've got 50, you know, regional managers, not 50 regional managers, we've got 20 regional managers, we've got 50 area managers. All of these people could really do with this type of approach. I said, great, are you happy to be my internal advocate? They said, yeah, but what does that mean? It's like, okay, all I need to do is I'll contact those people, give me the list, I'll contact those people, but I will just give you as someone that they could talk to internally if they just want to check out us or verify what we do. Are you happy to do that? Yeah. And so overnight, you know, and this wasn't just with one account, we opened up, you know, so many accounts. But overnight, what we were able to do was the account penetration, the spread through those businesses was just immense. Now, the other thing I will tell you is, I know people don't believe this, but you know, cross my heart, hope to die, this is the truth. Remember I told you the average fee that I was placing in that first recruitment business was 12.5% fees on a contingency basis on salaries at 7,500. What we did overnight with that business was we put the fees up to 30%. Okay, 30%, unheard of in our industry. The highest percentage it was ever in our industry at that point was 18%. We put it up to 30. All right, 30%. We also said it's retained. No one had ever sold a retainer in that industry, that particular industry at that time. People thought we were mad. Absolutely thought we were mad. Even James thought I was mad, but not for long, because when he started to see how it worked and how profitable it was, he didn't know long. What we did was we created an air of it was special, it was unique, it was elite, elitist. It was almost, I don't know if you've ever seen this concept of, you know, when something's special and it's inside somewhere, you get that nose pressed up against the glass, the window. Someone wants into that exclusivity, that special club. And all we did was we just, first of all, we had an attitude, right? And the attitude was, we are special. You guys on the continent will tell me, one of my favourite, and you will laugh, right? Because people in the UK think Stella Artois is an absolute premium brand because that's the way it's marketed here. But Stella Artois over on the continent, most people like they go, Roy, really? You drinking Stella Artois? But here in the UK, their marketing byline, strapline has been reassuringly expensive, right? I know you Europeans are going to laugh at that, but for UK-based residents, they're like, wow, man, reassuringly expensive. What a great line. And we were the same. We just felt that, you know, when something was priced cheaply, people distrusted it, mistrusted it. When something was priced more expensively, it got them curious, like, well, how can this be so expensive? So difficult. Now, you guys know the rest of the story. That business was a success. I then went on to grow from scratch a business for the UK at the time, the UK's largest recruitment human resources group called the Corporate Services Group PLC, £350 million turnover company. They were all about acquisition, all right? So they just bought recruitment companies, and that's how they grew in size. My business with them, Greycoat Executive Resourcing, wasn't an acquisition. It was the only business that was started from scratch within that £350 million turnover company that grew organically, and we hit 1 million turnover, I think, in our first year, and then the profit just was immense, year 2, year 3, all right? And I stayed with them, I think, 3 years, maybe 4 years. So I want to talk to you about this. I really, really want to talk to you about this. The first thing that I will tell you is, I'm just going to check and see if there's any, do you see any evolution in the market client side? Yeah, Yoni, yes. Yoni's asking about 20 years ago, clients were abused in the past by fake and bad recruiters that used to take retained and then not deliver. They just wouldn't leave, you know, leave them without a placement. That was going on 20 years ago, to be honest with you. It was going on 20 years ago, and I was selling against that 20 years ago, and I'll show you exactly how to counter it. I had clients that said, why would I pay you a retainer? I paid someone else a retainer, and they buggered off. It's like they haven't given me anything. Why on earth would I do it again? And I'll show you exactly how we were able to overcome that particular objection in a number of cases. Clients have become more cautious. They were actually cautious then, and there were still trust issues, but I'll show you the exact buttons that you need to push to get over them. Look, the first thing that I need to tell you, in fact, let me just ask, some of you did respond to the question and tell me that you've sold retainers in the past. Natalie, I know that you have sold retainers in the past on high volume telesales jobs before. Well done, and that's another way that we can sell as well. Biggest motivator was the urgency, and that the client wanted to be our #1 priority. This is so important. What the client buys with retained solutions is you, okay? They buy you, they buy your resources, they buy your attention, they buy you, they buy a piece of you, all right? I used to joke and laugh that every retainer I ever sold, I used to have to sell a pound of flesh with it, because trust me, you know, some of you I know on the non-retained side, and I'm not going to keep going about this retained. I'm going to teach you a methodology of search, whether it's retained or contingency. But some of you on the contingency side will often tell me, Roy, you know what, clients don't phone me back, they don't give me feedback, they don't take my calls sometimes. It's really frustrating. Here's the reverse side. I've had clients that literally they've signed the deal and then they've phoned me and they said to me, Roy, you know, what's happening on our assignment? Have we got any candidates yet? Like, you know what, you only just signed it this morning. The research has just kicked off, but as soon as we have something, I promise you, we'll be in touch. Those clients, we really had to chase them up for feedback, because once a person's got skin in the game, all right, once a person's got, they've got their money in it, they've got something that's important to them, they've got something riding on it. It's amazing how motivated they are to get the deal done. All right, so it is about a commitment. But you know what? Retain contingency. I'm still going to teach you how to get commitment from a client. So it's not the sum of money. In fact, I should make that point very clear. First thing that I want to talk about is attitude. Now, all of you I know that are in here, and all of you that will be watching this replay, are business owners. Some of you are on small businesses, some of you are medium-sized businesses, and I've got a few of you that are definitely people on the replay that are larger recruitment businesses. Small, medium, or large, it doesn't matter, okay? It really doesn't matter. What I want you to do is start to value highly your time, your attention. As the principal within the business, I need you to really start to put value on every second, every minute, every hour of your time. Now, I know that we've talked about this exercise before, and I'm not going to do the exercise with you now, but I do want you to know what your hourly worth is. All right? I really, really want you to know how much your hourly worth is. Like I said, I'm not going to do the exercise with you now. If you're not sure how to calculate how much you are worth an hour, then drop me a line or whatever, and I'll dig out the paperwork on that, the notes or what have you, and I'll send that to you. But at the very, very beginning, I need you to know how much an hour is worth of your time. Because when I started doing this, when I first started doing this, an hour of my time actually wasn't worth very much in comparison to the business that I was doing, in relation, sorry, to the business that I was doing at that time. Remember, £7,500 basic salaries, 10% fees on that. An hour of my time actually wasn't worth tuppence halfpenny. It wasn't worth a lot at all. But actually, I had a real sense of value of myself. I really felt that, well, hang on a second, I do a good job here. I'm not getting paid very much for it, but that's not my fault. It's not my boss's fault. It's not my client's fault. It's not my candidate's fault. So if it's no one's fault, what can I do? And it's like, it was down to me to change it. And that's kind of what I'm saying to you, that even though my hourly rate wasn't very high, I knew that I knew that I was worth more. All right, so that's where it started. Attitude is everything in this business, absolutely everything. To run a recruitment business, you've got to have attitude. So I know already you're ahead in those stakes. But to sell proactive solutions to your clients, it's going to take another level. All right, it's going to take another level. This is about you really starting to step up. Step up in terms of your attitude, all right? And it's that kind of like, any of you remember famous, actually, this is incorrect, but the person, do you remember Naomi Campbell was credited with a supermodel, Naomi Campbell. She's a Streatham girl, by the way, grew up in Streatham, so I'm not sure if I ever knew Naomi, but I probably knew people that she knew. And you can tell with some of the attitude. I mean, she's been in court countless times, hasn't she, for just verbally and physically abusing people that work with her or around her. Anyway, Naomi Campbell was credited once with saying, "I don't get out of bed for less than £10,000 or something like $10,000. I don't get out of bed in the morning unless, And it's that type of attitude. If any of you are into America's Next Top Model, I don't even know if this woman does it, that Tyra Banks, it's like that whole fierce attitude. And for all of you people out there that aren't into supermodels or America's Next Top Model, it's the Cristiano Ronaldo type thing. It's Eric Cantona at Manchester United. It's like, I've just scored the most magnificent goal, and actually what I'm going to do is just drink in that glory. All right, so that's what I'm talking about. It's almost an arrogance, and I know for some of you that really goes against the grain. Some of you hear me doing it and you think, oh God, well, yeah, you can be that person. I wasn't that person. Remember where I grew up. All right, remember where I grew up. Remember where I went to school. Remember the first jobs that I did. Remember the first recruitment placements that I made. So this wasn't something that came naturally to me. It was something that I had to believe in. I had to create it in my internal world in order for it to manifest in my external world. So attitude, and look, the thing about attitude, if you haven't got it, fake it. Fake it till you can make it, all right? Really, really important. And anything you watch, America's Next Top Model or any of these football programs or whatever, you'll see that. You know, some of these younger sports stars, it's like they'll affect arrogance, all right? They almost pretend they're acting. And the more they act, the more other people believe. And the more other people believe, the stronger it becomes, the reality becomes. And that's what I'm asking you to do. So think Naomi Campbell, think Cristiano Ronaldo. My point was, actually, Naomi Campbell was credited with saying, I don't get out of bed. It wasn't her. I think it was Linda Evangelista. There's me with my fashion model knowledge, right? Okay. Now, look, I know in terms of time, you know, this is a lengthy subject. We're not going to get loads more kind of achieved on this, but I do want to help you, first of all, with taking this first step about attitude. At the moment, most of you that are on this, that I can see, and even the replays, you still recruit, okay? So you still recruit. So this is a message to anyone, any business owner that still recruits. You still recruit. I'm not going to tell you to stop recruiting, all right? Some of you I know I have, because you're on a different track, and I'm saying to you build the business. But the next time a client phones you with a new requirement, or the next time you're speaking to a client and a new requirement comes up, I want you to just use this phrase, okay? Please write this down, and you know, it's not exact. It's like, take my words, make them your words, change it, do whatever you want to do. So this isn't a script. This is more a kind of an attitude, right? But I want you to use these words or similar words. You're on the phone to a client, they've given you a new requirement, or they phoned you to give you a new requirement. I want you to say thank you, okay? So thank you for that. It's perfect timing, okay? Perfect timing. Remember, these are my words, you can change them. I'm just finishing off another retained search assignment for a client. Okay, so again, use your words, whatever, but there are some key phrases in here. Thank you for that. So, you know, thanks for that information. That's brilliant, really, really. And I'm not telling you don't take details of the position, right? Because if you've got them, then you know, you can work them. If you've got a perfect candidate, submit the candidate. This is not telling you do not work a job that your client gives you. It's just telling you to insert a slightly different slant on it. So, thank you. I'm going to do this with Yoni. Thank you, Yoni, for that detail. Perfect timing. Yoni, I'm just finishing off another retained assignment for a client, and I can start your assignment tomorrow, okay? Or same thing, I can start later on this week. So thank you, perfect timing. I'm just finishing off. I'm just putting the finishing touches. I'm just completing another retained search assignment for one of my other clients, okay? You need to get, I suppose the key thing in there is that phrase, retained search assignment. Retained search assignment. And I can start, yeah, okay, the other key part is, and I can schedule your stuff to begin tomorrow morning. I can schedule your stuff to begin later on this week, on Thursday. Give them a specific time, date when you are going to do their stuff. But look, what are we communicating to a client when we tell them that? Okay, what are we communicating to a client when we tell them that? Just by inserting that phrase, we are saying, we're planting a seed, and the seed is retained search assignment. Retained search. Okay, I'm just completing a retained project, retained recruitment project. We're just planting that term, that retained, exclusive, special project, critical hire for someone, just completing it. Because what that does is it plants a seed. Now, several things happen. Some clients will turn around and go, oh, that's interesting. Who are you doing that for? What's a retained assignment? What you do is you plant a seed and curiosity kicks in. All right? Curiosity is a massive, massive driver. I love when clients go, well, what's a retained assignment? Or what's a critical hire project? What does that mean? Ah, glad you asked me that. It's a brilliant. Look, in this instance, the client was looking for, remember, Natalie used a thing of high volume of telesales jobs, urgency. So what I do is I give them those kinds of triggers. So look, in this particular instance, my client came, he had a very urgent position. He had a very critical hire. She had a number of positions that she needed to fill by a specific start date. This was I hope you're writing these down, by the way, because these are all the reasons why your clients will buy retained or contingency or proactive projects. Exclusivity. It's why they'll give you exclusivity, right? So forget retained. It's like even if you just want to sell exclusivity and sole agency, you need to use these triggers. So those triggers, once more, if I can remember them, high number of vacancies, high volume of positions to fill, urgency, I need them done by a certain time, critical, right? This is a key hire. This is a critical hire. Sensitive, confidential. Sensitive meaning, people in the team don't know. Maybe it's a replacement for someone that's long-standing. Highly confidential, all right? Maybe this one, salary brackets are like really difficult. We don't want to announce these publicly. We can't advertise the position. We can't be seen to advertise the position. Any of these triggers are the ones that people are going to go, oh, we've got that. Oh, we have confidential positions sometimes. And trust me, right, you've got clients out there that don't know that you offer these things. They don't know. And I was shocked by this when I found out, because remember I worked for Corporate Services Group PLC. I was the executive search. I was the only one. I was the only one selling executive search, retained solutions, etc. And I was doing really, really well. My business was doing really well within that business. But the board of Corporate Services Group PLC, £350 million company, I found out that they were using the top 3 search firms in the world and retaining them at 33% fees. I was livid. I was absolutely jumping up and down, hopping mad. Like, what? So these people, right, my board, my executive board above me that I reported into, I reported in my profit, my figures, everything else, they were using 3 businesses that were, admittedly, they were the top businesses in my industry, but they were paying them 33% fees to find them board level, C-level, senior management for their other divisions within the business worldwide, American, European, and UK based businesses. Imagine how cross I was, right? Cross doesn't really say it. I was just livid. It's like, hang on a second, why are they paying out money to our competitors? They weren't really our competitors. Why are they doing that? Why can't I have that money? And the reason being, I used to go to a board meeting, once a month. They knew my business. They invested in my business. They, helped me create the business that I did. 25 producers, 3 offices throughout the country, very successful, right? Directors, boards of directors, structure, profit, everything else. And I asked them, why don't you give it to me? And he said, we didn't know you'd do that. This is my own bosses didn't know that we could do what they wanted. And that taught me something. You know what, for every client that you go, well, my client will never pay me a retainer. My client won't consider me for senior positions. My client won't. My client won't. Is that an assumption on your part? Because you know what we think about assumptions, right? They're just not good. Don't assume anything, because the reason I found out was I used to I used to do one of the PAs within the office of my board of directors, and I asked her, I'm like, okay, when you look through the filing cabinet under recruitment agencies retained, whose T's and C's have you got? And she told me. So that's how I knew. So don't ever assume, oh, my client will never pay a retainer. They do pay retainers. They just don't pay them to you yet, all right? So that's where the attitude kind of has to switch a bit. You have to believe that it's possible. If you believe that it's possible, what you'll do is you'll give off that air. So remember that phrase, thank you for that. Perfect timing. I'm just finishing off another retained search assignment for a client, and I can schedule to start your assignment tomorrow morning. I can schedule the research to begin on yours later on this week on Thursday. Just keep planting that seed, okay? Now that's the only thing that I want to leave you with today, apart from a little bit of ongoing assignment work. And I don't do this with you a lot, all right? I don't set you up and go, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. But I do need you to start believing that you're capable, all right? You are capable. Forget about other people in your team. You are capable. I don't know you other people in the team. I do know you. What I want you to do is I just want you to start another page in your training notes book, all right? Another folder, if you like. If you use digital, another folder, developing a executive search solution or a search solution for my business, okay? And within there, I'm going to give you one assignment. This is an ongoing assignment. It's not for you to do by next week, but it is an ongoing assignment. I want you to identify the top 2 or 3 recruitment businesses in your sector or related to your sector that sell retained search solutions or advertised selection solutions. I know we haven't really talked about the different types. I'll go into that more next week. But anyone that's selling retained solutions or anyone that's selling extra services of recruitment into your competitors. And what I want you to do, ongoing project, is I want you to get either a copy of their brochure or a copy of their proposal document, or at the very least our methodology or our pricing page printed off or clipped and copied into your digital file on those businesses. I want you to see how they sell what they sell. And I'm going to put some money on this, all right? I'm not really going to put some money on, I'm just going to set you a little wager. I bet you, I'm going to wager that what they sell is no different to what you sell. Okay? You're going to be surprised. Now, if you started to do it for Egon Zehnder, Russell Reynolds, Spencer Stewart, you know, all of those guys, top 5 search firms, if any of you have got the time and the resources, and I'm not telling you go out and do it, give it to your administrator to do if you've got an administrator. You know, give it to somebody that can chase this stuff up for you. And all they need to do is call and say, hey, I'm calling up on behalf of my boss. We're looking at, you know, possible retained solutions. Have you got any information that you can send me? You know, how do you guys do this and what do you charge? We just need to know your charges and your methodology. What can you send me? Well, what's the assignment about? I don't know. I'm just the PA, all right? And even if you've got to pretend to be the PA, just do it. Some of you may have friendly clients that have got these proposals and stuff. Talk to your friendly clients and get them to ask for it or give you a copy of what they've got. But I want you to see how these so-called retained search specialists pitch their services to your clients. The same pitch, all right? And I'm going to leave you with a phrase that I want you to write down somewhere. Same chocolates, different box. Okay? Same chocolates, different box. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. Just write that down. Same chocolates, different box. So look, join me next week. What we're going to do next week is just take this up to the next level. I'm going to teach you exactly. In fact, I'm not sure where we're going to start. I'm not going to. Yeah, in fact, I think what we'll do is we can either look at how we sell retained solutions or how we deliver retained solutions or how we deliver executive search. Now, my normal modus operandi, my normal way that I would do this is I would teach you how to deliver search, because my belief is if you know how to do it, you'll get how to sell it. But I may do it slightly differently with you guys because you're at a different level. And what I might do is just get straight into, look, this is how you pitch it, this is why you pitch it, and then, you know, maybe on a later series or whatever, we'll look at how do you deliver it. Because you know what would be a great problem to have, wouldn't it? We work together and I teach you or I coach you on how to pitch it, and then you phone me up and go, Roy, we've won one. What do you do now? That's a great problem to have. I'd love to help you with that one, all right? So until I see you the next time, remember those assignments that I've set you. Get some pitches, get some written proposals, get some, you know, dummy template proposals from your competitors, from the people that are selling proactive recruitment solutions into your clients. Look at how they do it on, you know, exclusive, sole agency, managed agency, advertised selection, executive search. Look at how they sell those things and how they price those things. Look at what they offer. And the next time we're together, if you've got that information, start sharing it with me. But I'll start telling you about what they do as well, all right? I'm going to teach you, and that's the thing you need to know. I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to do to start winning this level of business. And forget about contingency, forget about retained, forget those terms. I'm going to teach you how to win that business on terms that you choose, on terms that you decide. So until I see you again, remember, work hard on your recruitment business, not just be busy working in it, and make a difference in the lives of your clients, your candidates, and most importantly, the people around you, your colleagues. Roy Ripper signing off. Speak soon. Bye-bye.